everyone, and welcome back to the Racing Mentor Sponsorship Podcast. I am here with Toby Trice. How are you, Toby?
I'm awesome, as always. Very well, thank you, Jess. How are you keeping?
Yeah, I'm good. I've got my cup of tea. I'm ready for the day.
Nice. Yeah, I've got a cup of tea on. You can't start this podcast without a brew, right?
No, exactly. So anyone, if you want to pause and get yourself a brew, go ahead. We'll wait.
I'd recommend it.
Yeah. So let's jump in with some fun facts. Yours just made me laugh so much, Toby. So Toby once put his arm around a random lady in Tesco's thinking it was his fiancée Katie, and it wasn't.
Oh gosh, that's yeah, that was an embarrassing story. The woman that mortified.
Like when I started reading this, I thought it was like something from your childhood, like, oh, you put your arm around a random lady who wasn't your mum, like when you were like 8 or something. But no, like full adult, and I love that.
Oh yeah, I was fully grown adult. Yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. It was really odd how it happened because I kind of just see Katie go kind of past me at the corner of my eye, and so I went to put my arm around her, but there was also a woman walking in front of her, and I mistimed it. She was directly behind the woman, and I put my arm around the woman.
That's amazing.
So bad. Yeah, that's not a thing I do often. So to anyone else listening out there, just don't be alarmed if I'm near you. Jess's fun fact is that she's never been go-karting. Jess, I'm really shocked by that.
I know, right? I mean, that's slightly a lie, I suppose. Like I went at Pleasurewood Hills, which is like our like local theme park that's really small. Yeah. I did like 3 laps in a go-kart, and everyone lapped me because I was like, right, braking lines, racing line, everything. And everyone was just, it was just, no, you could just go flat out the whole way around. So I don't count that.
Okay. Well, we need to get that sorted out. I think once this COVID stuff's out of the way next season,
Yeah.
I reckon we should host a Racing Mentor karting event. I think that'd
be I'd like that. I think that'd be really fun.
Let's do
it. Okay, so let's talk today about time management, which might actually sound really boring, but it's not, because it's such a important part of sponsorship, especially like if you're racing, you're juggling current kind of like sponsor activities and you're searching for sponsorship at the same time. Not to mention, I guess most of you are also working full-time jobs or more than one job in a lot of cases. So Toby's great at this. Toby's great at time management, and I think I'm pretty good at it. So I think listen to this and we'll help you get way more efficient and focus on the things that really matter. But Toby, I know that you are a super busy person. So I'd love to start by kind of talking through what your time management looks like and what your schedule looks like.
Yeah, crikey, yeah, I am busy. When you sit down and think about it, I am busy. I've got a full-time job that runs shift work, so it's very difficult anyway to kind of keep on top of that. Obviously, I've got all the racing mental stuff that we do together, Jess, all the sponsorship stuff I do for my racing career and training and that kind of stuff. And I also, as most people know, I'm an ambassador for a charity for TC Network UK, so that requires me to put quite a lot of time in for support groups and interviews and stuff like that. And then you've got all the kind of media stuff that goes with it. So yeah, Jess, my life's pretty hectic, to be fair. When I actually sit down and think about it, it's pretty full on. But yeah, managing time is obviously so important. I think anyone that takes this journey on to become a racing driver when they've got a working career, which most people that listen to this podcast probably will have, time management is really, really important, because without it, you know, it's so hard and it's such a struggle to actually get on and do the things that help you pursue your dreams. Jess, I know you're very, very busy yourself. You've got lots of things going on. So how do you kind of keep on top of your day?
Yeah, so like I do have a lot going on, but I pride myself in not being busy. Obviously, there are times when I'm like, wow, there is so much to do. But I feel like I'm so good at kind of managing. It's more about managing myself and my natural tendency just to want to do everything but the thing I need to do. Like a lot of the time, if it's like, you know, I need to send an important email to get something done, I won't do it. I will literally do anything else. So it's been a long journey of like just understanding myself. And I think that's a really big part of time management. So for example, if I'm trying to write an article, just writing on my to-do list, draft article, like first draft of article, it won't get done. So I know that I have to literally, and this sounds so silly, write down a really specific to-do list that's like open the Google Doc, write the title, do a short outline, then do the draft.
That is
Because
really specific.
yeah, because I know I need to break stuff like that down, and I don't need to do it with everything, but I can see myself putting something off. And normally, like, once I've written a title and opened the document, not in that order, I'm good to go. So I understand like these areas where I get stuck.
Yeah.
And that is a process. That's something I've gone through over the last 8 years of running a business, and right at the beginning not getting anything done and being like, why are all these clients leaving me because I'm not doing anything.
But that's the thing though,
That
isn't
didn't
it?
happen, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing though, isn't it? Because like sometimes you get so much going on that you don't know where to start. And that can be really overwhelming, that you've got so much going
Exactly.
on and you then are not productive. And it's
Mm,
really strange. Something that I've kind of adopted to my routine probably the last maybe 3 or 4 months. I felt like I've been actually really busy through lockdown, which is really odd. I didn't
mm,
expect that to happen. That I've actually done nothing when I've got the most going on.
yeah.
Whereas sometimes I kind of got so overwhelmed and I've got so much to focus on that I literally don't know where to start. That's the point where I just end up being on my laptop and just staring at it and not actually getting anywhere. And that's the
Yeah.
point now that I go completely away, do absolutely nothing, maybe grab a cup of tea, listen to some music or a podcast or just chill out. And then I go back to it and all of a sudden I'm
Mm.
like firing all fours again. I'm like, right, let's get this done.
Yeah, I
I
think
guess
that's a
you've got
really
some,
important point though about taking a break.
yeah,
Because like I think when you're busy, there's a tendency, and I'm so guilty of this, a tendency to go, I need to work through my lunch break, I need to work into the evening, I need to get up early and just work just to get stuff done. But certainly from my point of view, if I don't take a like actually leave my office at lunchtime, my afternoon is just shot. I won't get anything done. So I'm like really forcing myself to like go for a walk around the block or go get a coffee or something like that.
yeah.
um and then I'm super productive again. So I think that's such a good point about just take some time away if you're stuck.
Yeah, and that's very true. I mean, like having a job and then kind of coming home and going, right, I've done an 8 hour, 9 hour day.
Mm,
I need to now go and do however many hours of sponsorship stuff. And sometimes it's like, oh my God, I'm so tired that I can't bear to think about doing it and I'm not then productive. But then
mm,
having a rest, I can come back to it and I'm like, right, let's go. And I can get what sometimes might take me 4 hours done. I might get
mm,
it done in like half the time because
yeah.
I'm absolutely full on. And I think that's kind of that's my, like, I suppose one of my top tips today. There's a few coming today, I think, from myself and Jess, but it's really important to kind of be aware of yourself through these difficult times of when you're feeling overwhelmed by workload.
Mm.
Um, and if you want to give your best self to the job at hand, being rested and that kind of stuff is so important.
Mm. I think one of my top tips for that kind of feeling of overwhelm when you've got lots on is make lists. I love a list, but one trick that I find, if I just write down a list of what I've got to do, that makes me feel overwhelmed if there's lots on it. So I use, and I think you do as well, Toby, the Zelo journal.
Amazing stuff. Yeah.
And on the right hand side of like the daily to-do list is a little column for like the time that task is going to take. And it's amazing how many tasks I have that are just 10 minutes. 10 minutes to send an email probably doesn't even take that long. And this journal actually encourages you to write down how long you think a task will take and how long it does, just to help you get better at like working out like how long something will take you, especially if it's something that you do regularly. Like let's say that you've put down on your list that you need to follow up with all of your sponsors. You might put that that's going to take you 2 hours, but actually to follow up with those 10 sponsors it only took 50 minutes. So I think like understanding that really kind of helps you. But I find that if I can look at my to-do list and be like, right, I'm feeling all over the place, I'm just going to do this 10-minute task and then I'm going to go into this 60-minute task. And I think just seeing it all laid out like that makes me feel better, because I never really have more work than about 3 or 4 hours a day. Obviously I have someone helping me now and I'm in my business all day, I'm not doing a job and then all of this kind of stuff. But obviously what I'm doing is on maybe a larger scale than what some people are doing for sponsorship. But I really find that just marking down the time of those tasks just makes me feel so much calmer.
Yeah, and I really second that Zello or Zelo like planner, because I think we was introduced this by one of our previous winners, Nathan Williams. He
Mm,
recommended the book, and I think Jess and I literally bought it straight away because we were like sold.
yeah.
And this isn't an endorsement. This genuinely is. We love this product and we use it all the time. And
Yeah.
you kind of have this kind of like week page where you look at the week ahead, what you want to achieve, and what you think, how how you'd be happy with the end of the week and what you want to kind of see there as a result. And that helps you map out what the week is, and then you go into each day and break it down. And it's been life changing for me, really, because I've got so many things happening, so many little projects, so much going on. Occasionally, before I bought this journal, I used to forget that, oh no, I forgot to do that on Monday, or I forgot to do
Mm,
this week. I have to do it next week, and then you're not productive. But like Jess said, having this kind of like plan where it says, okay, right, I'm going to do this task. This takes this amount of time, and then because you get a better understanding of the tasks that you do regularly and how long they actually take, then the following weeks or months afterwards, you can plan your time more efficiently, because you know that, okay, that task that you said took half an hour and took 10 minutes,
mm,
that frees up 20 minutes of your time. You can reward yourself with other things at that point, or you can fit in another task. It's amazing, Jess, isn't it? I'd recommend
mm.
anyone to go and get the Zelo journal.
Yeah, I like that. There's at the start of the week, it's like, right, what are your main targets for this week? And you can be really broad and then let the daily stuff kind of break that down.
Yeah,
And I think that's really powerful for kind of like remembering what you're doing and like why are you emailing all of these people? Oh, it's because you want to earn like £5,000 worth of sponsorship this week or whatever it might be. So I think that's really, really valuable because you can kind of go back and refer to it and then like check that off as well. But then it's also got a great habit tracker, which I really
yeah,
love as well.
yeah.
This is turning into like the, planner, endorsement series, but other planners are available. um but yeah, like even just like habit tracking, like, have you done your daily exercise or your affirmations or whatever it might be that you do in the morning? Have you replied to all of your emails? I think that's really valuable as well, and I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's really nice, Jess, isn't it? Shall we talk about when things get a little bit too much and you've got a little bit too much on, and how to kind of deal with that? I know, Jess, that you've taken a rose recently,
Yes.
but outsourcing is such an important part of kind of managing a business, but also having assistant to, to get things done,
Mm.
more efficiently. So can you tell me a bit about your experience and your decision with Rose?
Yeah, so I think I was probably thinking about getting an assistant for 3 or 4 years, probably since I started Racing Mentor on top of running a marketing agency. And but for ages I was like, but I already do everything and I don't want someone else to do those tasks. And the biggest mindset switch for me was writing down those little tasks that I do on a regular basis that are time consuming but don't need my experience. So like uploading YouTube videos or editing anything. Editing takes me so long, like I can do it, but there are people out there who do it better. And this is a shout out to Alex at Momentum Social for looking after the podcast,
Oh yeah,
because it wouldn't get done if I had to edit. So yeah, about so Rose has been working for me since Get Paid to Race got launched in 2018, and I knew I wanted her to work for me because she's brilliant. But it was like a case of writing down all those little tasks and being like, could I give up the control of this? 'Cause I've been in my business on my own for so long, and it's the same when you're like the only one doing your sponsorship and managing your racing career. But even just little things like from a driver's point of view, things like doing research, planning, like scheduling meetings, all those little things where you could be, doing the important stuff like putting together the proposals and working out your value and strategizing with sponsors. That's the big stuff where you're needed. But if there's any way that you can kind of outsource those little things, it just saves you so much time. And
yeah.
it's not just the time aspect as well, it's like just the mental strain of not having to do those things.
Yeah, Jess, I can completely second what you've just said. I'm a bit of a perfectionist myself. I think you and I are quite similar in a lot of ways in that
Mm,
respect. And letting go and letting other people do tasks for you is actually quite a strange thing, because you've
yeah.
spent so long doing it yourself, and you're like, I can do it right, and I can,
Mm,
and having that trust of someone else to do something that might seem quite important, that
yeah.
that can free up your time, is quite hard to let go of. And just recently, I've had quite a shift in kind of outsourcing and getting support, because I've recently taken on a good friend of mine, someone that I really trust, and someone that's phenomenal at being organized and doing some amazing things. And she's now my full-time assistant. I say full-time, but she books the hours that I kind of do, I work with her.
Mm.
And it's been amazing. Like, there's so many little tasks now that I used to do that she does for me. She keeps me organized, which is really good because I'm not always organized. And I guess you're super organized in your business.
Well,
Well, but yeah, she keeps me organized, and it means that I can, all the kind of admin type stuff, my accounts, things are going on behind the scenes, like research. She now does all my sponsorship research. She helps me qualify sponsors, and that frees up so much of my time. And then we sit down together at the end of the week and go, right, okay, this is what we're doing now. And it's amazing. But like you just mentioned with Alex at Momentum Social, anyone that's followed me on Instagram will know of Momentum Social being one of my sponsors this year, and going forward, along with Purple Tash, of which both of those two I now they do, and I outsource through them most of my design work and video editing and stuff like that. So like, big shout out to them, because they've saved me so much time. Something that I thought I was good at and an expert at, they've blown my mind and completely changed my complete branding and everything like that. So by letting go and kind of being open to the fact that other people can do it better, because that's the case with me, and they can do it more efficiently and do such a good job of it, has completely transformed the way I look at turbocharged racing. I think that's right, Jess.
Yeah. And I think for anyone who's listening to this going, I can't afford that, I can't do that, there are virtual assistants out there who they might just do 1 or 2 hours for you a week or even a month.
Yeah.
Who they typically can do everything. So a virtual assistant could just do your meeting bookings for you, scheduling Zoom calls, all that kind of stuff, or they could do video editing, a bit of social media, all that kind of thing. So you don't necessarily have to spend a fortune. And actually, if it frees up your time to be able to kind of do more of the sponsorship stuff, you're going to get that return on investment. So I think it's definitely something worth considering if you're one of those people who is super busy. If you can kind of free up your time from the research tasks, the admin, all of those bits and pieces, then you can just focus on the pitching and the building the relationships. That should save you a ton of time. So I do really recommend at least thinking about what it might be like to have an assistant, even just for, a small amount of time a month. So start writing down those tasks that you can do, but don't necessarily need to do. And I think, like, from my point of view, the weird thing that Rose is doing that saves me like a ton of time, and this is so silly, is just booking Zoom calls. Because like the process of like inviting someone to a Zoom call, it's not that time consuming for me. But when I'm doing like, 10 a week, maybe, especially now that there's lots of people in the podium club, I find that, just doing all those Zoom things is like probably an hour of my time. And my hour, like an hour of my time, is worth quite a lot of money to my business. So just small things like that makes just a colossal difference to me.
Yeah, it just shows, doesn't it? And I kind of challenge anyone to do this. Virtual assistants are so easy to get hold of these days. So I challenge anyone that's listening to this podcast to give it a go. Have a look online, find a virtual assistant and get them to do a really short task that might cost you £10 or £12, something really small, and just kind of embrace how beneficial it is to you in terms of the time it frees up. And you'll be really surprised with the results you get.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to kind of come on to another tip in terms of time management, and I want to talk about time blocking. I love this. So like by kind of like time blocking or task blocking, it's about doing the same kind of task at the same time. So like if you're doing follow-up emails, do all of them together. Don't do one and then something else and then another follow-up and then something else. Do them all together, because you're in the right mindset and there's no like context switching needed. So you're not going from writing an email to designing part of your proposal. You do all of your email tasks together, all of your design tasks together, all of your strategy tasks together, all of your like racecraft training tasks together. It's such a good way just to keep your focus for longer. And I don't know if you do this, Toby.
Yeah, I've been doing it a lot more lately, because I find that my phone tends to be my problem for when I'm blocking out time to do a task. And because I might be writing follow-up sponsorship emails, and then my WhatsApp goes off my phone. I'm like, oh, I'll quickly answer this, and then I come back to obviously what I was doing, and then I've got to think about it again. So I now like remove distractions to help
Mm-hmm.
me with blocking my time.
Yeah.
So literally I put my phone on charge out of the way, like it's nowhere near me.
Mm.
And then when I come to replying to WhatsApp messages, because I get so many now from the charity and from the community and stuff like that with the Racing Mentor, and I now unfortunately just leave that. I spend an hour doing those replies rather than being kind of a slave to my phone.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's blocking time.
Yeah.
I then dedicate the time I've got to the task that I want to get done in that period of time.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable, like getting rid of distractions. I'm exactly the same. Like, I'll just pick up my phone for no reason. I'm like,
Bit
I
though, isn't
know
it?
I don't need it, so I have to put it away. And then, or like, I'll give it to Rose now, and she might then just occasionally just like slide me a little note saying, "This is ready for you," or "This has come in," which is much less distracting because I can't tap it and look at it because it's
Yeah,
a post-it or something. So yeah, I think removing distractions is really good. I like to, if I'm writing something, be it an email or maybe designing something or doing some editing, I like to like full screen, like fully full screen my whatever I'm working in. So I
mhm.
can't see my different tabs that are open. I can't just like, oh, I'll quickly check my email or go on Facebook. So I try and like have my workspace as like minimal as possible. So it's just the one thing that I'm focusing on at the time has all of my attention.
Yeah. And it kind of makes you accountable, Jess, I think, doing that, because I think we've all become in society a bit of slaves to notifications. We hear
Mm,
a notification, we're like, oh, quickly check this. Or,
yeah.
you get the email ping and you're like, oh, quickly check the email, it could be a sponsor, and you get all excited.
Yeah.
And it's not actually that productive to do that. It's better just to kind of ignore all of your notifications or turn them off if you can.
Mm,
Um, because it's amazing how those small distractions can take you off your concentration to get your task done. And it's something I need to go back to doing, because I was really good for a while at posting regularly on social media, and I was using Buffer. I know you use the software yourself, Jess.
mm,
But as of late, I've been using my phone to post to social media, and I might go, okay, I've got an idea, I need to post it on social media. It might be a story or something really short. I'll do that, and then I'll find my thumb dragging myself through Instagram or Twitter,
yeah.
and I'll look at the clock and I'm like, oh my god, I've just wasted like 20 minutes. What the hell am I doing? Like, why do I need to do that? And I love social media. I like consuming social media, but at the time when you've got lots of other things that are more important, I've
Mm,
then prioritized that task of just browsing social media and not actually getting anywhere,
yeah.
when I should be more accountable and going, okay, I need to, need to get these things done before I go and do that.
Mm.
Um, and that's something I still, I'm still practicing that. I'm still trying to get out of that habit.
Yeah, this is why I had to delete TikTok. My God, like
Good
that.
shout.
I mean, I only had it during lockdown anyway, so I wasn't really doing much. But like just hours of just sitting on my bed looking at TikTok. I'm like, I have things to do. Like they might not be pressing because like clients went quiet, but like there are still things on my to-do list that are not TikTok.
Yeah.
So yeah,
TikTok was dangerous, wasn't it, when
I
that came
know, I
about?
know. I mean, I still
Yeah.
love it, and occasionally like we'll just reinstall it just for a day, and then I'm like, no, I'm getting addicted.
Is that like your guilty pleasure there, Jess? Like you're a
Yeah, I
big
think
TikTok
so.
addict.
I really love it. I just think like the in terms of like content creation, it's just like the people are so clever and it's so entertaining. Yeah, I just got a bit obsessed. I'm quite an obsessive person though, so like if something catches my attention, I will focus on it completely until I'm bored of it
Yeah, it
or I
just
have to
consumes you.
delete it. Yeah. Yeah. So another thing I kind of want to talk about in terms of time management and in terms of just like sponsorship and getting stuff done is accountability.
Yeah,
I find it so much easier to get stuff done if I know someone is going to go, did you do that thing? Because I don't want to say no. No, I looked at TikTok for 3 hours instead.
yeah. Sorry.
um and obviously like from my point of view as someone with clients, it's quite easy because at the end of the month you've got to say yes, I did the work and yes, there are results. But I think when you're on your own doing your own sponsorship journey, there's often a lack of accountability. So I would recommend that whether you're just like co-opting friends and family into your journey and just talking to them about it, or whether you're using something like the Race and Mental Facebook group just to say, hey, I'm going to do this thing this week just for a bit of accountability. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, I agree, Jess. I use my Zelo. I'll come back to that point again. I use that as my
Mm,
accountability because I've written my goals. I've created tick boxes that I've got to tick to mark that task off.
mm-hmm.
And if I go a day and I've missed one, I'm like, oh, like that really bugs me.
Yeah.
So that kind of OCD mental, I guess it's OCD. I've got to complete each task and each goal, and I've got to get there. That's kind of how I do the accountability stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever I'm working with like, well, I guess you guys in the podium club, or if I'm doing any coaching, I'm
Yeah,
really quite hard on the right, what are you doing before our next meeting? Because I think that's really important, because they know at the next meeting I'm going to go, did you do the thing? And I did it in 6 weeks success. And I think just having, just knowing that someone's going to be saying, did you do the thing, whether it's your journal, whether it's someone that you work with, whether it's friend or family member. But I also think that can stress some people out as well, and they'll feel guilty if they don't do the thing.
yeah,
um, so it's about kind of like working out what works for you, because I actually have some clients who I can't do accountability stuff with in that way,
yeah.
because I know that it will just overwhelm them and stress them out. So it's a bit more kind of soft and nurturing what I'm doing with them. But for the most part, I think it's worth working out how you can be accountable to yourself or get someone to help you with it, because it is a big part of just getting stuff done.
Yeah, definitely. And just a second, the point on the podium club, I remember back when I did my 6 weeks to success course. I've said it right again, Jess. I'm getting better at this. When I went back to that time of doing that course with you, Jess, and 6 weeks was like my accountability. I'm like, right, I've got to get a sponsor in 6 weeks. Let's do
Mm,
this. And I got to the end, got a sponsor, and I was like, hell yeah, this is so cool. And it felt amazing. And I
yeah.
always want to kind of ride that curve. So now in the podium club, when you're saying to the group and you're going, right guys, what are you working on this week, and by next meeting what do you want to achieve, etc. And obviously we all come up with and chat between us with what we're doing. When it then comes to those calls together, it's so awesome to go, hey, I've got this done, or I've worked this, and it just makes you more accountable. And I really enjoy that. And I think having that kind of shared success among a group is just such a fulfilling thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that if anyone's listening to this and thinking, oh, I want to do that, you can start posting in the group saying, these are my goals for the week. This is what I want to get done in terms of sponsorship. Who else is in? And I will occasionally do like like early in the week thread of, right, what's everyone trying to get done this week, and I will keep an eye on you. So that there is that built into the Facebook group as well. So if you're not a member of that and want some accountability, then just search Racing Mentor Sponsorship Community on Facebook and you'll find us.
Hell yeah. Jess, let's just talk a little bit about the kind of remembering why we're doing this and why we're here. I think we've spoke a lot about how to kind of, like, some tips of how to kind of be accountable and how to kind of manage your time and stuff. But it's very overwhelming when you've got lots of things going on. It's very overwhelming to actually lose sight of why we're doing this in the first place. Why are
Mm,
we committing ourselves to all this, this time that we've got to kind of consume to get to our goal? And having goals written down for me, Jess, is so important.
yeah,
Again, I've mentioned in Zillow that I write my goals down and what I want to achieve each week and month and year, etc. But I just think it's so important just to take that time away from your day-to-day routine and your tasks and stuff, and just take note of remembering exactly why you're doing this, because
yeah,
it does get very tough. I've had days where I've just been exhausted from just overdoing it, and you sort of just go, like, I can't carry on. And that's genuine. I still have that every now and again now, and I'm sure people that listen to this may feel the same. But by remembering why you're doing this and the people around you and what you're trying to achieve as a racing driver, for your sponsors, friends and family, and for the love of the sport, that keeps you going. And I know
yeah.
you're exactly like this yourself, Jess.
Yeah, and I'm always looking to the future, and I think the biggest tip I can give anyone is to visualize what it like feels like to be at that end goal. So
Yeah,
it's all good and well saying I want to get to Le Mans. Okay, great. Yeah, of course. Don't we all? But what will that feel like? What's it going to feel like, jumping into the car for your stint? Like, what's it going to feel like at the end? What's it going to feel like as you're prepping for Le Mans? Like, all things like that, just feel it, because not only does it make it more real to you, but it will help you like really focus on getting there if you can see it happening. And like, I guess this whole visualization thing comes from the same school of thought as meditation, and kind of that clearing the mind to be able to focus on something big and the big end goal. And that's, that might not be for everyone, but I would definitely kind of recommend, whether it's like sticking up a picture of like your dream LMP1 car, or whether it's, just sitting down with your eyes closed and just imagining like what those, like the actual day of your 24-hour race will be. I think that that's really, really powerful. And then you can also break it down. What does that look like in the next year? What are you aiming for this year? Is it a championship win? Is it to get X amount of sponsorship? I think having goals like that stops you from kind of losing sight of why you're trying to do this. And well, using you as an example, Toby, like you've got this really, really great goal of bringing awareness to something that a lot of people go through with fertility issues.
Yeah.
And I think that must be really powerful for you as well.
So yeah, so important. I mean, the whole reason why I started racing in the first place was to kind of overcome my own kind of mental health issues, I suppose.
Mm,
Because motorsport's my release and it lets all that steam and anger out. So that's one of the big reasons why I race, but also all the people now that I help through motorsport, or using motorsport to help them with their own fertility journeys is so powerful.
mm,
But I get massive kicks from, like, I've always been one of these people that loves helping people, and if I can help contribute in a way that's positive to their lives, like I really get a kick out of it.
yeah.
So when I get feedback and testimonials from sponsors of something that I've done in the past, like for example last year we did the corporate debt brands hatch for one of my sponsors to help them engage with their staff. Like I got so much feedback that day. I saw loads of excitement on people's faces. I spoke to the managing director and he was so happy to hear from the staff and how how engaged they were. And all those sort of things feed me with like this, oh my god, I'm so like happy because all that hard work that I've put in has been worthwhile, because now my sponsors are getting something out of it, which is
Yeah.
amazing. And that gives me like a massive buzz. So
Mm,
whenever I'm finding a bit overwhelmed, or I'm finding things a little bit difficult, or it might be that I've had lots of no's from sponsors, because I get a lot of no's, that happens. But I then remember of the good, and like what my other sponsors have benefited from. It just fuels me again. It's kind of just like, oh, I'm so excited.
yeah.
So I think that's kind of what I hang on to. There's so much positivity around me, and that I'm grateful for that, but that is down to the hard work that I've put in,
Yeah.
and that just fuels me to keep going.
I'm very much the same, like especially with Racing Mentor. I always used to think that the only thing driving me was money, which sounds really like mercenary. But ever since starting Racing Mentor, I've realized like the only thing I want to do, and I actually that like and I do it like to a fault almost now, is I just want to help people like just live their dreams.
Yeah.
Which is why I give out so much free advice. And I just getting messages from people that's like, hey, I secured a sponsor, or oh my god, you've changed my life in this way. And I've had some just mind-blowing messages about how I've completely changed someone's life, and that in itself is quite overwhelming. But I think if I've helped this one person, I have to keep going, because I might then do this for another person. And like, I had a message yesterday from someone who was like, I had these 3 goals at the beginning of the year that was this and this, and I've already achieved 2 of them, and it's because of you and your book. And I was like, oh my god, like
Amazing.
it makes me feel so emotional. And it's definitely kind of my driving force is, speaking to those people that I'm helping and the people that I enjoy working with. It makes such a difference. And I know often in sponsorship, and when you're like going out there to try and do your thing and achieve your goals, it's easy just to focus on that. But actually, what are you doing along the way? What are you doing for your team and for your family, and all the people that matter to you? Because I think you'll find that there's a lot that's worth using as a driving force beyond that like end goal as well.
Yeah, and it will just keep you focused. It's
Mm,
amazingly powerful, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I still go back to the point, Jess, that you changed my life. I picked up your book. I stumbled across on the internet. I met your Autosport. I signed up to your
mm,
6 weeks course, and I cannot believe what the difference of now. That's nearly 2 years, I think that is.
yeah.
Um, and where my life is now, it's incredible. And I'm so grateful for it. So yeah, it just shows how powerful it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, but thing is though, that kind of blows my mind, because then I think about the incredible things that you've done for other people, and there's this amazing like knock-on effect
Yeah.
of, I wrote a book, and that, like, stuff like that really keeps me moving forward, because
Yeah.
like, with anyone, like, if you help someone, they'll probably help someone else, and then so on and so on and so on, and it's just this, you know this big chain reaction, which is amazing.
Yeah, and I think, during times that we're going through right now, Jess, I think it's really actually it's quite nice to be chatting and reflect on this, because we're in a time of this pandemic, or the world's in a really strange place, and there's a lot of negativity. And we've seen on social media recently with some awful event at karting, and we've seen some not pleasant things in the media, and we don't celebrate this kind of stuff enough.
Mm,
I wish social media would have this massive flip where we actually celebrated success rather than kind of dramatize things that are going on in a negative way.
yeah.
Um, so it's actually really nice to just sit down sometimes and kind of put your mind in that place where, okay, what am I grateful of, and what can I do to kind of push this forward, and what have I achieved, and all that kind of stuff. And it really does all help with your time management.
Yeah.
And it's so important, because you're here to do what you're doing because you love motorsport.
Mm.
But there's so many other things that also are beneficial to not just your life, but the others around you.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we've maybe gone slightly off topic, but all this stuff is kind of important for just
Yeah, it counts.
getting the stuff done. And I just want to make one kind of final point before we go on to our driver of the week, and talk about how, like, it can actually get really lonely doing this kind of thing. And I just want to say to everyone that it's okay to feel lonely and feel like you're overwhelmed and on your own, but actually you're not. You've got the whole Racing Mentor community at your fingertips. um I'm available, just on Instagram or on Facebook, or wherever you want to find me, just if you want to have a rant about, I did a thing and it didn't work, or even if you want to, share a win. Just because I found this as an entrepreneur when I've been trying to build businesses like on my own. No one kind of gets it. So even if you've got plenty of people to talk to, they just don't understand.
Yeah.
And I think searching for sponsorship is the same. So your family and friends might not always understand, but the Racing Mentor community will. So do feel free to kind of tap into that if you are feeling a bit isolated.
Yeah, we're all here.
Absolutely. So I am so excited about this driver of the week, Toby.
Hell yeah. I cannot wait to talk about this one.
Yeah. So I think it was over the weekend, I got a message from a driver called Callum Foster, who I'm going to read it out because it's amazing, and it's, I think, probably one of the most, like, the best messages I've ever got. And Callum said, "Hi Jess, just thought I'd let you know that when you say look outside the box for sponsorship, you certainly need to. Today we had our first ever meeting for a sponsor who is a funeral directors." That's mind blowing, and this funeral directors has joined Callum for 2021, which I just think is incredible in terms of
Nuts.
thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, it's properly incredible, isn't it? I think when you messaged me to say about what this news was from Callum, um, I was like, I was shocked, because I've never heard of anything like it.
Yeah,
Um, but could this be the world's first funeral director sponsorship? Like, Callum's achieved something quite incredible, I think, here, and this
yeah,
is going to be a bit of a talking point for some time, I think, Callum, because it's incredible what you've
yeah.
achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, massive well done, Callum. Like that, like, not only have you achieved a sponsor, which is always a massive win, but I just love the whole thinking outside the box thing. And Callum later told me that that was just from reading the thinking outside the box part of Get Paid to Race, which he hasn't even finished the book yet. So well done. That's some natural talent right there. So yeah, congratulations, Callum. If you want to follow him on Instagram, he is CF Karting One.
Yeah, awesome stuff. And I just want to point out as well that Callum is a young aspiring Formula One driver one day. Is his goal. And currently, I believe he's racing at Rye House in a rental karting series. So for those that listen out there, it just shows you can get sponsorship at any level. Callum's on the start of his amazing journey, and I wish you all the very, very best of luck in the future.
Yeah, congratulations, Callum. And I just want to also say that anyone who is in our exclusive Driver of the Week club, you're going to be hearing from me shortly, because I've got some kind of exciting news for you, which I know is a bit of a tease, but yeah.
You are
So
such a
watch
teacher.
this space.
You literally just dangle a carrot right
Yeah, there you
there.
go. That's all you're getting.
That's it. But that also means, guys, for those that you listen to the podcast, do keep us informed of success stories, just like Callum did with Jess, because we want to hear about them. I think it's really cool to talk about them and celebrate any success stories you've got, but also it gives you the opportunity to become one of our winners.
Yep, absolutely. So next week we are going to be talking about how to grow an email list, which is kind of exciting. And actually, this week I sent out a new Racing Mentor newsletter to people. So I actually got really into sending newsletters over lockdown. So I think I'm going to use some of the stuff that I've learned from that in next week's episode as well.
Look forward to it.
Cool. Well, thank you everyone for listening.